Hi, everyone. You're here because you want the real story, fast and deep. So let's get into it. Today, we're doing a deep dive into a major wildfire. This one hit New Jersey's Pine Barrens back in April 2025. We've got news reports, naturally, but also some really compelling NASA data, satellite stuff. Our mission here is to figure out how the natural fire cycle, human factors, and, well, the environment all sort of crashed together in this event.
Yeah, and what really jumps out is just how fast it moved. It started around April 22nd near Waretown, and it was in a wildlife management area. But get this, within 2 days, it just exploded. It covered over 15,000 acres.
Wow.
That kind of speed, it really screams, dry conditions.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just trees burning, right?
No.
It hit people hard. There were those mandatory evacuations. I remember reading about Lacey and Ocean townships. Roads shut down, big ones too. Parts of the Garden State Parkway, Route 532. Imagine that disruption.
Yeah, huge impact. And the smoke plume apparently was drifting up towards New York City.
A real wake-up call about nature's power, even close to major urban areas.
It really is. But, it's also important to remember fire in the Pine Barrens. It isn't necessarily, unnatural. It's actually a key part of that whole ecosystem.
Right, I've heard that. Something about certain trees needing it.
Exactly. Take pitch pines. They've actually adapted to fire. It helps their cones open up, release seeds, regeneration, basically.
So fire's part of the plan there, naturally speaking.
Sort of, yeah. A natural process.
Okay, but here's the rub, isn't it? This natural process is now happening right next door to, well, us. Lots more houses, more people living near these fire-prone zones.
Precisely. That's the critical intersection. Nature's cycle meeting increased human presence, and then layer on top of that the environmental conditions at the time. Spring 2025 was incredibly dry.
A drought.
A severe drought, actually. That basically turned the whole place into, kindling, made it super susceptible to a spark and to spreading that fast.
And we have proof of that dryness, beyond just saying it felt dry.
Oh, yeah. This is where NASA's data is so useful. They have these satellites, GRACE and GRACEFOS. They measure things like groundwater, soil moisture, really deep down. And the data, which the National Drought Mitigation Center reported on, showed things were anomalously dry, way drier than usual for that time of year.
And that matches up with the official ratings.
Perfectly. The U.S. Drought Monitor had the area classified as severe drought right when the fire hit. No wonder it took off like it did.
So you've got the dry fuel, the natural ecosystem. What about the spark? Do we know?
Our sources don't pinpoint the exact cause, which is pretty common. But often it's human-related, accidental, or otherwise, especially near developed areas.
Okay, so NASA tracked the drought conditions before the fire. Did they see the fire itself?
They did. Landsat 9, another NASA satellite, flew over on April 23rd, right in the thick of it. It took images with its OLI-2 instrument. The natural color photo mostly just showed a ton of smoke, as you'd expect.
Hard to see much then.
Well, that's where the other views come in. They use different light bands, shortwave infrared, near infrared, visible light to create a false color image. And that cuts right through the smoke. It's pretty amazing.
What does that false color view show you?
It makes it super clear. Healthy vegetation shows up bright green, but the areas already burned, they stand out as dark brown or red.
So you can map the damage accurately.
Exactly. You can see the fire's footprint, how intense it burned in different places. Plus, there are tools like FIRMS and Worldview that use similar satellite data for near real-time tracking. Very useful for firefighters.
Okay, so let's sort of pull this all together for everyone listening. This New Jersey fire back in April 25. It feels like a real case study, doesn't it?
Definitely.
You have this natural fire process in the Pinelands, but it's happening in a landscape that's changed because of us, because of development.
Right. And then amplified by these broader environmental conditions, like that really severe drought, possibly linked to climate change patterns.
It highlights this really delicate and maybe fragile balance.
It really does. It shows how these natural events, human activity, and the environment are just increasingly tangled up. And the fallout, like we saw with the evacuations, the road closures, it affects communities directly. Very real consequences.
Absolutely. So maybe here's something to leave you thinking about. As we see potentially more events like this, more intense fires, maybe more frequent droughts, how do we need to adjust? How do we rethink living alongside these landscapes that naturally burn? Something to consider.